Welcome back to the 14A Sports Radio Show. Hi. And as always, the 14A Sports Radio Show is brought to you by the Big Apple Sports Palace. Give them a call tonight for delivery, 201-858-1075. All right, so that last segment that we did, that was pretty awesome. We definitely give ourselves some Manzels for that. And
some Manzels.
We thought, that was going to be about the NFL playoff segment, but that is not the case. We will get into that segment right now. Let's start it off with the AFC. The first game of the playoffs will be that Chiefs at Colts matchup. We've got the Colts in this game as the 2.5-point favorite at home.
Yeah,
it opened at 1.
Yes, lot of line swings on some of these games. We'll get into a little bit of that.
A lot of money's going on the Colts.
Yeah, we got
about that right?
58% right now.
A lot of money's going on the Colts. Then
58% right now, 42 on the Chiefs. A couple of weeks ago, I remember this is actually one of my big calls. I forgot week 15 or 16.
The Colts beating the Chiefs outright. Right?
Yeah, I had them winning outright there at KC.
But I was thinking about this before. Now, that game at the time, I guess KC was still kind of playing for something like an outside shot of getting the number 1 seed. But I don't know if KC kind of just laid down a little and kind of played a little vanilla to be like.
Well, I think that was that might have been.
They were basically kind of almost setting this matchup already.
I think that was the same week that Denver actually lost to San Diego.
The Chiefs were still in the mix.
Yeah.
They didn't. They still had stuff to play for.
This was week 16 or
week 15,
14, 15.
It was 15.
15.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, they were still in it.
Yeah.
I really like Andy Luck. You have that team every year that you can maybe sense is gonna pull off a little bit of a run. Last year was the Ravens, who I don't think anybody had except for myself. I was saying, but no,
I don't think anybody had him. Except for this guy.
I had them running off that run just based on Ray Lewis.
A little left for me.
A lot of that over here. So
you like their travel schedule?
I like what Indy can potentially do here, and we'll get into the game next. But if San Diego does pull off that upset like I think they will, then Indy will be up against New England. So you never know what's going to happen. But let's stick on with this game. Indy's going to be at home. Not like they have a tremendous home crowd or anything that's going to stifle the Chiefs. But KC's been slumping coming down the stretch, and the good game that they did play was last week when a lot of the starters weren't even.
It's interesting. Kansas City's only beaten one team with a winning record, and that was the Eagles without Nick Foles.
Yeah,
that was when Vic was still playing.
Yeah, so Kansas City
could be a little paper tiger.
I like it.
I like it.
Not a smoking mirrors.
Oh wow.
I think Kansas City's talent again. Alex Smith, man, I think it comes down to him. Last year, 2 years ago, you remember that Saints game? He had an incredible game. To propel the 49ers when play the Giants. But Alex Smith, I don't trust him. I'm with you, Walsh. I like Indy. I like the fact that they're at home. Kansas City, just the opposite. Kansas City is a tough place to play.
Right.
Playoff environment. Robert Mathis coming off the edge. They have to stop Charles, right? That's
their
priority
number one.
number one. You gotta stop Charles. Obviously, easier said than done. But I like Andy Luck. I think he's coming into his own. Hilton's a big time weapon. And I'll go in the playoffs. You got to trust the quarterback, and Luck is a better player than Smith. And I'm with you. I like the Colts also.
Yeah, no, I think Indy's been one of those teams all year where it's been like from week to week you're just baffled. They have huge wins versus Denver, Seattle at home. They get blown out by St. Louis.
Right.
They get blown out. They have tough games versus Tennessee, and you're just looking at this team. You're like, they're kind of puzzling.
You can't know what to make.
Yeah. And I think if you like him this weekend, it's because you trust in Luck over KC or Alex Smith. I'm going to go with KC. I think on this one.
All right.
I think from what Alex Smith has shown this whole year, I think Jamal Charles might be the most explosive guy on that field on either side.
Yes.
T.Y. Hilton started off the year great. He kind of struggled down the finish. I mean, especially I'm just
after losing Reggie Wayne.
Yeah, but once he kind of became the main option, they definitely struggled a lot more. I'll just take the KC defense over the Indy defense. I mean, I probably couldn't name a guy on the Indy side if I tried.
Robert Mathis. But
I mean, but maybe that's the only one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Alex Smith can go in there. I mean, the Bill Simmons' old rule is only take a a road team on the road if you think they can win it outright.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think they can win it outright. So I'm not even worried about the 2.5 points. I think they win it straight up.
I know Indy had a very strong finish at the end of the regular season. However, those games were against Houston, Kansas City, as they're going to be playing. And that was actually Week 16 that they played. So Houston, KC, and then Jacksonville. They only allowed 20 points altogether in those 3 games. So the defense obviously weren't going up against the best competition, but they did very well in those games. At the beginning of the season, my out there prediction or whatever it might be, I said Andy Luck was going to be a top 5 quarterback when the year is all said and done. Hopefully,
I think he was in. Hopefully, he was definitely in the I mean, I don't know if you're talking about just like stats or just overall rating of like guys you would trust.
I was going more that way.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he was up there. I mean, and definitely had games where he's shown that. I mean, that Denver game that he had Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely had games where he's shown that he can be that guy. But then, other games where he kind of came up small.
Him losing Reggie Wayne was big. I don't think that adjusting to that was tough for them. But they got the 2 running backs. They've been able to run the ball decently. Trent Richardson finally got in the end zone the other day.
Yeah.
So, but
things are looking up.
Sheldon Richardson had more touchdowns than Trent Richardson had for Indy, which is unbelievable. The battle of Richardsons. Sheldon
wins.
Yeah. But I don't know. I like Indy. I like them at home in a dome. I think the dome can be a little bit of an advantage. I disagree with you.
I think Lucas Oil Stadium is. Yeah, I don't think it's the same as the their older stadium that they had. But I think that the dome is still can get loud.
I like them in a dome.
But I'm going KC.
I don't trust KC. I don't think they're too big, right? They played the Chiefs twice and I'm sorry, they played the Broncos twice. Those are really they had to win one of them, right? They came up small in both of them. I don't know. I don't like that team. I don't like them. I'll go with the rich announcers. They suck.
They suck.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So the other matchup in the AFC, that's going to be also the early game on Sunday. We've got the San Diego Chargers traveling to Cincinnati for this one. Cincinnati is a 7.5-point favorite. What do you guys like on this one?
I like the Bengals to win, but the Chargers to cover.
Okay.
All right, the 7.
Yeah, I would take the points on that. I see a close game. We kind of touched on it earlier when we were discussing Dre Gruden. It's all on Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, what Andy Dalton's going to play? If he's going to throw 4 picks, the Bengals is still good enough. They showed to win a game that he plays terribly in, but and he made some big throws though too. But it's on if Andy Dalton plays well, they could blow them out. But that Charger team is pretty resilient. They got a couple breaks, obviously, with a couple of calls in that final game, but. Phil Rivers had a bounce back year. I like Mike McCoy. I think he's a very good coach. But I like a close game. I think the Bengals advance, but I take the points if I was betting it.
Yeah, I think the Bengals actually. I could see the Bengals actually running away with this one. Like I said before, it seems like their offense was kind of all the way, or they were struggling to get points. But I see them using Giovanni Bernard a lot in this game as kind of like an X factor. I mean, I like AJ Green on the outside. San Diego. I mean, Keenan Allen came up big this year. Ryan Matthews actually, kind of had a big comeback season.
Stayed healthy finally.
Yeah, for the first time in probably his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
But
you remember the Ryan Matthews joke Epstein made at the beginning of the year that he broke more collarbones than he scored touchdowns that he stole from NFL Network and didn't give credit.
But I think since he's been a great home team this whole year, I see them just getting up on that. I see them covering the 7. So I'm going to take Cincy.
I'm going to go with San Diego outright in this one.
Taking a San Diego money line?
One of the
I don't know. I don't have it here.
Let me check it out real quick.
Doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Money line for
+200.
For all you guys out there, it'd be $250 on the money line.
There you go.
One of the things I like about San Diego is when they play good teams, they've shown that they can control the clock against them. Against Denver,
yeah, they did that beautifully.
They did it against Indianapolis on that Monday night game as well. And I think that's what their whole plan, this whole playoffs, is going to be. You're going up against elite teams. We've seen Cincinnati the last 2 years in the playoffs. They couldn't get that.
3 years.
Oh yeah, that's right with the Jets.
gotta win
Yes,
yet?
good call. Good call.
Dalton got to win yet?
Last 3 years.
Yeah, they haven't.
They made Dalton's made the playoffs every year. They lost 3 first round.
Good call. Good call. I forgot about that. Again, the Jets maybe a team you should have beat. That was a 6 seed that year.
Sean Green, actually, you remember that? Sean Green had a great game that game.
And then
It's
the two games the last 2 years against Houston. As we've seen, Houston not exactly an elite team, but they couldn't get it done.
Would the Pats beat them last year?
Yes. Yeah. Pats kicked their hole in.
Oh yeah, that wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Semifinals.
But yeah, again, I like the ball control that San Diego can play.
I like that point. I think that right. They'll model after what they did in the Denver game. I like that point a lot.
And that's the thing, if you're going to play, Cincinnati, take a look at some of the games they've had. Against Minnesota, they scored 42. Last week against Baltimore, 34. Pittsburgh, that's probably a good mirror of what San Diego can do.
But that's because Dalton threw 4 picks.
Yeah.
If Dalton comes to play and doesn't turn it over, they're going to blow him out.
Dalton threw a couple picks last week.
4.
Yeah.
I like your point.
2 couples.
2 couples.
Are they
2
gay?
deuces.
2 Aaron Rodgers. I like that point. That San Diego's going to have the same game. And Mike McCoy's a smart coach, so he knows what he's doing. I like that.
Now, these two teams actually faced off against each other in week 13, a 17-10 game. San Diego could not move the ball at all on Cincinnati in that game. I remember I think they got a late touchdown.
But I just really like the Cincy D. I mean, especially even after losing Geno Atkins and Jonathan Joseph, they've still come to play. And
Mike Zimmer's a very good coach.
They showed up a lot. They had a defensive touchdown last week versus the Ravens. I see them covered. I'll see.
All right. Now,
Cincy was my Super Bowl pick, by the way.
New England stole my Super Bowl pick. I like them a lot.
We picked that before the season.
Yep.
I had Cincy and the Saints.
I had New England and Seattle.
But at least our teams made the playoffs.
Last year I had Baltimore and Philly, and I got Baltimore in there, but not Philly.
Though. Yeah.
So very interesting to see what happens if San Diego wins this. They're going to go to Denver. I don't see them beating Denver. I remember the predictor, he had the Chargers in the AFC Championship. Interesting, but at the same time, I don't see them playing 3 good games against Denver. They almost had them that first time in San Diego.
1 game at a time.
All right.
Denver for?
I'm just saying, if they win, that's who they're going to play. The other thing, too, I like about San Diego, it's funny how the NFL works. Whatever you think is going to happen probably isn't. When San Diego kind of squeaked into the playoffs by the skin of their teeth on this one, I think a lot of people are feeling like, they don't deserve to be here. That's the team that can be very dangerous.
Last year, right? They kind of squeaked in, and then they got caught fire at the right time.
How about how they beat Denver with that safety? The safety made that long throw, Flacco down a sideline.
Oh yeah.
What are you doing, kid?
Looking at the stars.
Your one rule is to not let them get behind you.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of fluky stuff happened. But you're right. Well, how about like the Jets? The 1 year the Jets they played that 15-0 Peyton Manning team, and Bill Polian benched them. The Jets wouldn't have beat them that year, but they win, and they took advantage of it. They wound up. That was I think they beat the Bengals or the Chargers, and then they went to they wound up AFC Championship game
versus Steelers.
Yeah. But so you live with the breaks, like you said, the NFL. You don't apologize for getting to the playoffs.
No. Oh, welcome back to the Fortune Sports Radio Show.
Nice, Davey. We didn't even plan that. We're on the same page, baby. I like it.
Touchdown, baby. All right, let's hit up the NFC previews real quick. In our next segment, we're going to be breaking down New Year's resolutions. Definitely don't want to miss that one.
Stupid.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's not get into it now. Let's not have another third segment.
All right, well, then get into it. You're supposed to be controlling this radio program.
You're the one guiding the ship, Capitan.
I got it, Poppy. I got it. All right.
Poppy?
Oh, hey,
hey, Rogers. Settle down.
Suavemente.
All right, so first NFC playoff game is going to be the primetime game on Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Maybe watch a couple beverages for this one.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a fun one.
I think Wild Card Weekend is my favorite playoff weekend.
It's great. Wild Card's great, man.
I always, in January, February, I always got to work on Saturdays. So it's great. I roll out of work at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, right to the bar. Yeah. Games are on, 4 o'clock till 8. wake up Sunday morning, you got a nice 1 o'clock game
Yeah,
on
right,
again.
right.
It's just like, you're covered with all good games. Hopefully some gambling going on.
Oh, yeah. In this one, we got New Orleans at Philadelphia.
Hold on. Do you think Wild Card Weekend is the best weekend of sports?
No.
Nah,
The
because
tournament,
like
Friday, Saturday. I'm
there's,
sorry, Saturday, Sunday.
April and October, I feel like always has some pretty good weekends of sports between like March Madness.
Got some playoffs.
You got like basketball going on
In April,
October.
the Masters.
October, you got like college football, NFL. You got baseball playoffs.
You know what? We should
There's
rank.
always like
That's a ranking.
not bad.
Rank,
All right.
rank weekend, sports weekend.
Well,
Write it up.
Well, we're gonna have. We were just actually talking before the break. We're gonna have a nice little weekend. We're gonna get Patty Farrell, who'll be in studio the 22nd. His
Right.
fight the 31st. Then we're gonna venture over to the city, do a little
Francesca
Francesca
Con,
Do you know
Michael.
where that is yet, or where it's going on? Or
We're
just-
going. I don't know.
We're
Wherever
gonna
it is.
talk to those
Are
people.
we dressing up?
Of course.
I'm bringing these
I'm
fucking headphones.
I'm gonna dress as a diet Coke bottle. And then the next day's the Super Bowl, so that's a great weekend.
Great weekend.
Well, all
here
right,
in
get
the
into the
area.
games.
All right.
Let's do this.
So we got Philadelphia favored by 2.5, home against New Orleans. What do we got, fellas?
Man,
This might be the toughest game to call. It might be the best game actually of the
Yeah.
weekend too.
Nah.
I mean, Philly's been playing well, man. Philly's the hot team. At home, if the Saints are home, I go to Saints. No
Yeah.
doubt. Like I pick the Saints. I don't bet against the Saints at home. In Philly, Foles been playing tremendous, not making mistakes. The Saints, we discussed before, not the same team on the road. Give me, Nips, what do you got? I don't know. I haven't
I've
decided.
gonna
been
wait.
thinking about it too. I mean, just because, like you said, you're betting against Drew Brees, which is always a tough bet. I mean,
Right.
but like you said, he hasn't been the same guy on the road. But also, I didn't think Philly looked that great last Sunday night
No.
Agreed.
against
No.
the Cowboys. I mean,
Agreed.
they started off pretty hot, but then that Cowboys defense, which has been terrible all year,
Right.
basically slowed them down enough to give Kyle Orton a chance to get him back in the game.
Kyler made a couple plays.
And the only difference in that game is that missed 2-point conversion. After that, I mean,
Right.
and then he throws that bad, that stupid pick at the end, to just basically kill him.
Hero mode.
Yeah, but basically that 2-point play was the play, that's
right.
where they missed it. But that Foles in that offense, I mean, he threw 27 touchdown passes and 2 picks in the time that he was playing. I mean, if you stretch that out over a 16-game year, I mean, he would have had.
How many games did he start? 10? 9?
I would say somewhere in that area, but I'm just kind of guessing. I mean, I know he missed at least a couple. He missed the first couple because Vic was playing.
What's up?
Vic was the guy,
Right.
at least for 3. Then he came in, then he went out again.
When the Giants, was that their first win? So Giants went 0-6, and they beat Matt Barkley.
They beat somebody else before. They beat the
So that was
Vikings
their
before that.
right,
So that was
that
at
Monday
least week
night game.
7.
So
Week 8, they were in Philly.
About 8 games?
So
7 or 8
maybe
games?
So I mean, just him doing that, and I mean their running game is legit. And now I don't know if it's just because it's new still, and that other teams haven't been able to basically get the tape on it.
It's not that new. It's a lot of power stuff.
Yeah,
it's not that new. It's really not.
It's a deviation of what Chip Kelly did in Oregon.
Right. There's some.
But a
some
lot of his
wrinkles,
stuff
but-
was
yeah.
it wasn't really. It's not like the read option as much as
Right.
like
It's not gimmick. It's power football.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's
with
like
a tremendous.
If
back.
you got 8 guys in the box, he's gonna throw it on you. If you're
Right.
dropping 2 safeties, he's running the ball on
Right,
and then that all keys off the whole rest of the offense. I think I'm gonna take Philly at home. The Saints have been they
That's a tough one.
they had the the whole division laid out for them, and they could have had the number 2 with the bye.
Right.
If they could have beat Carolina on the road, and like we said all year, that Saints offense is just not the same, and that defense isn't the same either. Because I think when you're at the Superdome, you have the crowd noise. That defensive line gets that extra little kick.
Right.
You have that little bit of built-in advantage.
Well,
But on the
they
road,
play
it's-
from ahead. That's the other thing, right?
and I think Philly can definitely hang with them.
All right, so Foles started 10 games this year.
Okay.
The first one he started was against Tampa in Week 6. Remember, he came in relief for Vic Week 5 against the
Okay.
Giants. Now, one of the things I like about this game, similar to San Diego, I feel like New Orleans can play that ball control offense. Now, usually you look at New Orleans as that run and gun team,
I don't know about
slinging
that.
points all over the field. Listen, New Orleans can run. You got Pierre Thomas. Mark Ingram is showing a
They
lot of.
spread it out, but I don't know.
Is
that's
that how
not
they're
their
going to win
game.
the game? Yeah, that's
I think
not
that's
them.
what you're going to have to do. Listen, when you got 2 high-powered offenses like that, somebody's got to get slowed down, and I think it's going to be New Orleans that does the slowing down. The Eagles, they're more of that big play offense, as you see here with a lot of their games. They're scoring upwards in that 30.
Yeah, but they grinded too, though. Philly, they absolutely run the ball.
Listen, New Orleans has a pretty good defense themselves. Okay, they had a couple good last weeks. Now I know that game against Carolina, they played very well. They just got beat there on that last drive. They handled Tampa Bay very easily last week. There was no doubt about that. They were going to win that game. I really like Pierre Thomas. I like Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram stepped up a little bit these last couple of weeks. Breeze,
I'm not enamored with him.
Breeze can handle the
that
offense.
Goes as Breeze goes. That's how I always see it.
I think Jimmy Graham getting hurt was a huge thing for them. I thought. I don't think that offense really clicked the same way.
He hasn't been the same guy.
Right.
It's about week 6 or 7.
Absolutely. We were talking about him. In the first couple of weeks, he was dominating, saying he should have been the number 1 overall fantasy pick.
Yeah.
Right? He had the most points out of all players, for a while.
And since he's gotten hurt, he's still out there. He's still being productive. He's not the same dominating player. I think that obviously hurt them tremendously.
If you look at the receivers that they have, Colson is not the same guy that he kind of was when he broke out that
Kenny
1 year.
Kenny Stills having a nice year, but
Kenny Stills is like a deep ball guy, kind of like,
agreed.
If he can get that deep play, then that's what he does. But other than that, he's pretty quiet.
He actually averaged the most yards per reception. He hit 20 yards. Yeah.
My thing here in this game is, with the public's perception of New Orleans being such a horrible road team, the fact that they're only an underdog here by 2.5 points is a little telling.
I'm taking the Saints.
And I was just gonna say too, where you guys are like, myself too, where you're like, I don't know what to do. It should be obvious that you go Philly because the Saints are a bad road team. We know,
but Philly's also the hot team.
And the fact, and all of that, and the fact that we're struggling with it, I just think that makes it a Saints victory.
Well, it's always
in
tough
this one.
betting on an MVP quarterback
right
on a primetime game in the playoffs. It's always tough going against a guy, whether it's Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. You throw them in that category. It's always tough going against those guys, whether they're at home, on the road. It's just you never want to play the money against them.
What Foles hasn't been in this playoff situation. We saw what happened last week. A team they should have thoroughly dominated. In that primetime game, Dallas, all the lights, whatever you want to call that shit. 24 points against that Dallas offense.
I also picked the Saints to go to the Super Bowl, so
okay,
I'm gonna go with that.
So keep your hat in the ring.
And the third seed here is Philly. Philly's the third seed. All right, and
49ers, Packers.
Okay, 4 or 5. All right, so we got two on the Saints, 1 on the Eagles. We don't have any dominating picks yet, but maybe we will in this one, the last matchup. We've got the San Francisco 49ers, the 3-point favorites, traveling to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
I'm honestly the most confident about this game.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I think the 49ers throttle them.
Indeed.
I think, Rodgers, that defense is just so bad, I think is the problem. That defense is very bad. They got a couple lucky breaks against Chicago, made some big plays where they needed to. The 49ers, they're built to play in Green Bay, man. They're going to run it down their throats. I think, they're finally hitting their stride. Kaepernick is playing better, much better than he did early on in the season. I think the 49ers throttle Green Bay, and a lot of tears shed at old John's Midtown Tavern because I think they get whacked.
Now this is the one game where I feel like the most people are on the 49ers, which like you kind of say like
right.
whenever everybody's on one team, you kind of always get nervous about it. But I don't see how the Packers score enough points on that defense and hold them down enough on the other end. Holding down Kaepernick. Mm-hmm. I think Kaepernick getting Crabtree back was a huge advantage for him.
Absolutely.
And he's finally starting to look like more like the guy that we saw in the playoffs the last year.
Right.
These teams play opening weekend of this year. I want to say at Candlestick.
Yeah.
Big offensive score, offensive game both ways. Kaepernick, Bolden had a used game. Rodgers looked great. I just see that 49ers defense controlling the game, not letting Eddie Lacy get off, making Rodgers beat him, and I just don't think Rodgers can make enough plays to get against. But again, you're going against a top 5 guy basically. But I don't know how healthy he is either. He didn't really look great. A lot of the game.
His first 2 possessions,
they threw that one pick.
Interceptions there. Yeah, that's the thing. I think if you get after Rodgers early enough, it'll be cold. You knock him down on that hard ground a couple times. It might start getting a little uneasy. I think it all starts on how the game starts. You gotta
starts how the game starts.
Right. You gotta get to him.
You get on the bus.
You gotta get to him.
You gotta get
that good flight into Green Bay.
You want to crown him? Crown him.
And we let him off the hook.
But yeah, you guys brought up all the great points they need. In a cold weather game like this, I think the running is what takes over.
And what's Eddie Lacy's status?
He should be all right.
He was banged up though.
He should be all right. It's the playoffs. You gotta go, Poppy. You gotta go.
No, I know he's gonna play, but he's a little banged up. James Starks, could play.
James Starks has had some nice runs.
But Eddie Lacy's good.
So, and here the Niners are the road favorite too, right?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So I'll take the Niners to cover the 2.5.
Yeah. All right. So fine. We got full agreement on the panel here.
I think I'm the one bucking the trends on the rest of the
That was the only game.
You guys were both in unison, right?
We have the same bets.
Yeah. Let's recap them real quick. I've got the Colts, the Saints, the Chargers, and the Niners.
The Chargers to cover. Same. We same.
I got Cincy, KC, Philly, and 49ers.
You know what's interesting? I said I'm going to try and pick against Walsh completely, and we picked all the same games.
Well, if I lose, then I'm chugging a lot of beers next week, though.
I really, you really can't help but look ahead to what could potentially be in the second round. So if New Orleans does end up winning, that'll delay that. I think that Seattle-San Fran matchup that everybody wants to see. I'd rather see that in the NFC Championship instead of in the second round. That would be a really cool game. Then you got Carolina sitting there in the second seed.
I'll tell you what, Carolina.
If Philly wins, they automatically take on Carolina.
Carolina's D is just as legit as those Niners and Seahawks teams. So
yeah,
I think any of those two guys in the championship would be a bloodbath.
Who has the best shot of beating Seattle in Seattle?
San Fran.
I'm going to say Carolina. I think San Fran's gone up there and hasn't done it. Hasn't even come close to doing it.
Nah.
Russell Wilson and that offensive line is
not saying that they can't do it.
Carolina, Greg Hardy, take advantage of that tackle situation.
Looks like a freaking.
He's a stud.
Beast. 24 tackles in that freaking.
If they,
you
know what I like?
Insane.
That's great.
They, there's websites out there. They do like if we redrafted, based on performance. They said it would go Andrew Luck, Kuechly. Russell Wilson, Luke Kuechly.
Wow.
Oh yeah. And
interesting.
The most terrible thing is that I think the Jaguars took like a punter 5 picks in front of Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Come on. We've seen the trends with punters drafted in the third round over there. The Jags are trying to get a step up on.
They're a dime a dozen.
When you have an owner with that type of mustache,
Con,
he needs to control that mustache.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to start ripping everybody's New Year's resolutions. I think I'm just going to go on Facebook.
Did you make any?
No, hell no. I never do.
15 minutes.